So as you guys probably know, I've been playing around with products from Insta360 for a while now, including one of the first 360 cameras that I ever experienced, and then this crazy small Go product, which is like a clippable camera. You could clip it on a hat, you could clip it on a chain or a shirt, and it's even smaller than what you've seen before from action cameras. I like 360-degree video. I think there's a lot of possibility and potential there. But sometimes I get this question from people of like, hey, should I just get a regular action camera or should I get a 360-degree capable camera? And the trouble up until this point is that's been a hard decision to make. There's advantages and drawbacks to both different formats. Today, Insta360 puts out this One RS Twin Edition, which aims to merge both of those technologies into one modular device. Now, modular devices, that's cool enough on its own. We've imagined in the past the idea of modular smartphones and laptops so that it can kind of shift its shape given whatever type of project you want to throw at it. And it can kind of grow with you a little bit. Like maybe you're shooting more 360 for one specific project, and then maybe you're shooting more typical action camera stuff or POV stuff for another project. Well, this is that promise delivered of modularity, and it's going to be an expanding ecosystem of components that can attach to this particular setup. Now, Insta360, they've been doing both for a period of time. As I referenced, we've shot cars, we've shot action, I've shot hockey, and the mounting setup is your typical mounting setup. So you have like helmet mounts and poles, and then they've got their software on top of it, which lets you do magical things like removing the selfie stick from shots that you might have out a car or that you might have while you're skateboarding. You can use it in a very casual way. You can use it in a professional setting when you're doing car videos like we are, and we plan on using this product specifically for that into the future. So, interchangeable lens action camera. 360-degree lens option, or 4K boost lens as they call it. Here we can see a variety of different applications for how you can put it to use, even just your typical selfie vacation scenario with all of your smooth transitions and sunny skies and beautiful beaches and special outfits. Like that. All right, let's break down some features of what we're gonna get in the box. 5.7K 360-degree video or 4K wide angle video, 48 megapixel photos, flow state stabilization, which is key for any action footage. You will get nauseous without it. They have one of the best stabilization systems, and it pays off. It makes this stuff so much more flowy and smooth and usable. Horizon lock, another key component, particularly for POV footage. If you're doing any helmet mounted stuff, lock the horizon and make things far more professional and not have to worry when you hit the record button that you need to monitor it because you know you're gonna be on that horizon. The invisible selfie stick, that'll be deleted in the software. You just won't even see it. Waterproof to 5 meters, instant zoom, 8 times slow-mo, 4 times slow-mo for 360-degree video. Active HDR, which I actually put to use at a hockey rink, and it was key because the ice surface tends to get blown out if it's bright and lit up, but then you have certain darker elements like the puck or the stick. I actually mounted the camera to my 10-year-old, and you'll see some of his stick handling moves. Auto edit is in there, so right from your mobile device, you can get all types of editing tools and kind of do it as easy and straight to social media as you want, or as comprehensive if you want to like dive deeply into it and get very granular with it. And you can also use it as a webcam, which if you have a terrible webcam, this can be quite an upgrade if you want to use it in that fashion. This is our first glimpse into the modularity, how it all comes together with your mount and your battery base, and then your 360-degree lens, the RS Core, which is kind of the brains of the whole thing. It's also got your display on it, and then your 4K boost lens. It's still a very wide-angle shot, but not to the extent of 360, so that's gonna be immediately shareable and sort of fit your typical action camera profile. Then there's also the 1-inch wide-angle lens, which that's the one that's co-engineered with Leica. They've had this collaboration for a while, but that's going to be able to clip into this modular system as well. You can also see the items that are going to be in the box, so why don't we go ahead and get into the box. Okay, so first things first, up top here, we have the core module alongside the 4K action camera component. The boost lens is what they call it. This is going to be f2.4 16 millimeter equivalent if you're trying to figure out just how wide that shot's going to be. Of course, you still have some physical buttons for record and power. You have this little door on the side, which is like protected. It seems to have a gasket on it as well for durability and obviously for water resistance. If you look in there, you have your USB Type-C connector as well as your micro SD card slot. Everything's going to be stored there, even though you can initiate recordings from the mobile app with a really big preview. That's going to be recorded internally to the camera and protected, as mentioned, by that gasket on that little door. So these two parts, this is where the magic happens. These two parts that come apart just like that. Super simple and easy to do. Now you might be thinking, hey, that's too easy. Well, actually it doesn't matter because you're going to have this inside of the external casing. So that will actually wedge the two pieces together. So it's kind of nice that they actually come apart easily. And the way that works is you pick up, say, this guy right here, and this is going to be your 360-degree video, flow state stabilization, and this is dual lens 360 f2.0 7.2 millimeter equivalent. So very, very wide. Well, 360 is capturing absolutely everything. And we just go ahead and slap this in, and that's how quickly you have now changed your typical action camera, your 4K boost lens action camera, into a 360-degree capable camera. No need for a completely separate device, no need for a completely separate app. Everything is functioning in one place. So now the last modular component in this particular kit is going to be your battery module, and this connects to the bottom of your device. So I'll just go back to the boost lens, and then this part just comes on to the bottom, and actually it can go, yeah, it goes right like this. And it clips into place, and now you're up and running and ready to go. You can see it starts to boot up right away. You have a display on here so you can get a preview of what you're looking at. You can control certain settings from here. The app is a little bit easier. For me, I find it to be a little more convenient, but it's nice to have that backup as well in case you've just got access to the camera or you want to trigger a recording. You can go into your settings here as well and set up some of your different modes, like, for example, video, photo, and active HDR. So this little interface, even though I said I typically prefer to just use the smartphone connected to the camera to control many of the functions, this little interface is actually pretty decent in a pinch. If I click on the little Q button here, it brings me into this quick menu. And that's gonna be my most commonly used presets. So if I like to constantly shoot 4K, 16:9, 30 frames active HDR, that's going to be in there, but I also might want to shoot higher frame rate, non-HDR. Either way, it's all accessible via the quick menu. So you can still just pop this thing out, not even worry about your smartphone, and get up and running. All right, so also in the package here, this is going to be important. And this is your typical sort of action camera component that makes the thing mountable across a variety of different mounting accessories, including a helmet mount, or maybe you want to mount it on a handlebar, any number of different arm type mounts that you would have for shooting automotive, for a car. It's truly endless. And so you go ahead and just slide the camera in, and now you kind of lock down temporarily the modularity because everything is just locked up together. As you can see, this is your connection point down at the bottom. You're going to get a little bit of extra ruggedness out of this package in its entirety as well. Plenty of creative possibilities with this particular mounting setup. Okay, so that's an unboxing and sort of basic setup of this device. As you can tell, it's super easy to operate and shift between different modes. But I'm lucky enough to have access to the vice president of the company, who's going to give us a little bit more background on how this product came to be. Very exciting. I am joined by Michael, the vice president at Insta360. This is very cool stuff. It's like a hybrid of all the things you might want in an action camera. Can you describe this new product to me?
It works on a modular system. It combines the best features of a traditional action camera and the best features of a 360 camera. Regardless of what you do, skiing or mountain biking, you never have to worry about what angle you're getting. But there are features of a traditional action camera that outweigh a 360. And so that's kind of why we decided to combine both together into one system.
This is like a nice kind of entry into 360, because if you are apprehensive at all about moving towards 360 filming, you have kind of the backup of, okay, fine, you want to use it like an action camera? Go ahead, use it like an action camera, because it can do that too. So I think it's going to introduce a lot more people to 360 that otherwise may have been too apprehensive to try it.
Where the challenge is being able to easily take that content, edit it, and share it without having necessarily needing the skills of a professional editor. And if you look at most action camera users, they're not editors and they're not filmmakers. They're really good at what they do. And some of them might have, a film crew that helps them, but that's only at the highest level. You can essentially go from shooting, editing, to sharing all via our mobile app in a couple of minutes without ever needing to pull out the SD card and put it into your computer.
So the next guy I'm going to introduce you to is Fabio Wibmer, and I'm sure you've seen his videos on YouTube. The guy pulls mega numbers on some of his amazing stunt, trick, story videos. They're truly one of a kind. And he's recently partnered with Insta360 to actually aid in the development of this product and upcoming products. And who better to partner with than someone who's actually in the field professionally using this equipment to pull some absolutely insane stunts. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but this is very impressive stuff that you're doing. You know this, right?
Thank you. Well, yeah, I've been growing up with stuff like this, so it kind of gets normal at some point.
I'm curious what attributes you're looking for in a camera like this. I mean, I have the One RS in front of me right now, and sort of how you use these types of cameras in order to help better tell the types of stories you're trying to tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really crazy to see those cameras at the moment. Like, I mean, it's like a funny story, but I can remember me probably 15 years ago putting like some sort of camera onto my helmet, like super heavy, trying to get actually like those kind of shots which we are getting now with like super tech cameras like the new Insta360. It's definitely quite exciting, and I've been following them like Insta360 for quite some while, checking it out, and it's really cool to see on how they really try to think about stuff in a different way, like how they come up with like really creative cameras as well, which are meant to be used in a creative way.
Is there any example, either recently or in the past, where you've been able to take a sort of much smaller, more rugged camera and put it into a scenario where a typical camera just wouldn't be capable?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, POV is still like one of the best, I think, camera perspectives you can have whenever you're doing action sports. But also, I've been trying out stuff like to put on my bike, to just like put the camera somewhere. And I've recently also tried out an angle which goes pretty much just below my frame on the bike, where you can see the tire. And I've been riding down quite a steep cliff in the south of France, and that actually looked really cool. And I got like tons of messages from people just like asking like where I mounted the camera, like how I did it and stuff like this. So I still think there's like so much creativity in using those cameras, which definitely just brings a lot of joy to capturing stuff. And especially for me, I mean, I love creating stuff. I love just getting cool and unique content and always striving for something new. Those cameras are like a really great addition, let's say, to me as a content creator.
I presume that early on you were doing most of this stuff yourself, and has that changed as you've gone down this path? Like, are there multiple people sort of working on these projects? Because these are big projects. They start to look like big projects going on. Or are you still like very hands-on, where you need to be like making every single edit yourself, or doing every single selection for music? Like, to what extent is it now a team effort versus just strictly a personal one?
I mean, I can remember, filming my videos just like with a tripod myself and like a little camera. I feel like to create something really cool, the most important thing is, the story, the thing what's happening in the video. And I think like everything else, like the camera equipment, of course this can play like a big part in whatever you wanna like showcase. Like for example, if you wanna showcase like some like riding on a cliff where it's goes down like super steep left and right, like you have to try and figure out what's the best camera for this. And yeah, usually I'm the one who's having like those like ideas and visions in my head of how something can look like. So I'm like very perfection. Try to be perfection about everything.
I mean, I could imagine you being out there shooting with, such a specific requirement that you could even give insight to the product team and say, hey, here's something I would love to see in software, or here's some development, or here's some mount or something that I want to do. And then hopefully there can be some sort of collaboration there where together, something can come out of it that can be suitable not just for you and things that you want to attempt to do, but a lot of other people can then start to think creatively based on that collaboration as well.
Well, we've been actually doing this with a new RS camera. Like I've been giving like the whole product team some feedback. We've been working on it, testing it on it, and just giving them a bit of my expertise from the past years and from what I think a cool camera should have, trying to bring that insight to them. And we've been working quite some time on this product where I've been trying to play kind of like a cool role in also being part of the whole development, which was also quite exciting for me. And obviously, like, coolest thing about this is definitely, you're kind of like having two cameras in one, which is great. So especially for me, like 4K POV and like the 360 for like the very creative stuff, is definitely making it for someone like me who's constantly doing different stuff like very exciting to use, and brings in like just a very easy like usable camera which you can bring everywhere, and you can create some really unique stuff everywhere pretty much.
Having a 2-in-1 camera system not only saves users cost, because you're getting both for about the same cost that you would spend for one or the other, but what it does is it gives value back at the end of the day, because with a modular system, we're continuing to innovate and come up with new mods that users can then upgrade to without having to necessarily pay for a whole new camera system.
I see everything from a 1-inch wide angle lens to a 4K boost lens and then a 360-degree lens. Would you be able to describe each of those three and their attributes?
The 4K boost mod is where we put a lot of the upgrades into for this version of the camera. And what we've done is we've upgraded the camera sensor to a 1/2-inch 48 megapixel sensor. So we've basically quadrupled the amount of megapixels in the previous version. And with the 1/2-inch sensor, you're getting better low light. We've upgraded the core mod, which controls all of the other mods. It's kind of the brains of the camera, with a new chip, which enables in-camera stabilization. And this is absolutely huge because you don't have to post-process footage anymore to get stabilized shots. So average users, they can take their footage right out of the camera without running it through our app or any kind of, or our studio, and the stabilization is just there. So it's one less step that you have to go through. The 360 mod is a 5.7K dual lens system that you can just plug and play. So you pop the 4K mod off, you put the 360 mod on. It's controlled the same way through the same core mod, through the same app, but it comes with its own sensor and its own lens. So it's basically like if you're comparing it to a DSLR, you're not only changing out the the actual lens, but you're changing out the sensor that processes it. So it's an insane concept to kind of wrap your head around. The third mod that we have available is the single lens 1-inch mod that was co-engineered by Leica. It's also available. It's the same mod that was available for the previous camera. And then we have, we're working on building out this ecosystem later this year. So we're continuing to innovate. There's going to be new camera mods and systems that will come out for it. The goal is to grow the ecosystem as much as we can so that, you know, users can say, oh, well, I already have this system. I just need to, you know, I spend a little bit of money, I upgrade to the newest mod that you have, and I don't need to upgrade the core, and I don't need to get new batteries. I'm just basically building out my kit without spending money on an all-new system. I wanted to turn the tables on you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you mentioned it. You've been doing consumer tech for a long time, and you guys produce some really high-end, great content. How have you personally used action cameras in the past, and how do you see yourself using a camera like the One RS?
Well, it's funny because there's what I do for work, and then there's also my personal life stuff that really doesn't actually end up on the internet. It's more for myself. Here in the studio, I think a really cool opportunity is around automotive. Never had a Tesla before. And what a way to kick it off. As there's been, as I'm sure you're aware, this growth in the electric car market. It's brought so many more vehicles into our studio space, and we've been wanting to kind of take that coverage up a notch. I mean, I'm already super happy with some of the work that we've done, but we've been wanting to do more stuff like out on the road. And so once you start looking at filming a car with a 360 camera, you just realize how much flexibility there is to create visuals that just are otherwise not possible. Like one of the cool examples we recently experimented with was this idea of like a kind of behind, it would be like third person, but except the car, like this sort of behind the car shot, which it's almost like a video game, the feel to it. And it just gives you like this expansive view of the vehicle in an environment which is, it's just so much wider than anything that you can achieve through a traditional means. So it lets you approach content from a different perspective when you're capable of applying it.
That's the perfect example of something that just wasn't possible a few years ago, or was, but you needed $100,000 to get the proper rig set up on the car. You needed to get cameras, insurance, you needed the crew to manage it, and now it's like you put your suction cup and your invisible selfie stick and the camera, and you can basically create that on your own.
I actually was just looking at this and curious because I actually play hockey a lot, and I was curious if I could find a way to rig one of these where I could film an actual game, playing a game, and then see if I could throw that into some editing tools and have a 360-degree hockey game experience.
That sounds awesome. We recently did a video with the Anaheim Ducks where we took our tiny camera, our go-to, we rigged it on hockey sticks, on boots, on helmets, on the puck, everywhere. And we created this like super unique POV video that would only be possible with a camera like that.
An amazing way to have a relationship when you have the individuals, the creative side of it, the artists, the people actually making stuff can have some sort of input on the eventual products, because then you know that like the insight that you're getting comes from the position of practical application. It's like, hey, I want to solve this one particular problem. And it comes from experience. It comes from the person who's actually out there doing the thing, from the professional that sort of wakes up in the morning and is making stuff.
Yeah, definitely, and that's been also the goal of our like partnership. Not just me using the cameras, but more like trying to develop, something for the future, something really cool which everyone enjoys. It brings really some big joy to myself.
It's all good news. I'm gonna keep my eye on your channel, and everyone else that watches this is gonna go check it out. And I'm certain that you're gonna keep making amazing videos.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you sometime in the future. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you, bye-bye.
Okay, so there you have it. It is the Insta360 ONE RS. This is the twin edition interchangeable lens action camera. It really takes some of the guesswork out of deciding between a 360 camera and an action camera. You get the best of both worlds in one package. Do everything, do all of it, get out there, get on the snowboards, get on the bikes, do the activities, and don't be hindered by your production equipment. Look at how small this tiny little package is. 2 cameras for one. This is the ONE RS from Insta360.